Engelbrecht. Building a firm foundation. Building a firm foundation, Carrie Engelbrecht.
How solid is your foundation? Did you build it to last? When did you first start to leave your mark on the world? I love to write. I've always loved to write. As a kid, pens and markers were my favorite. I never liked pencils. I prefer for things to be permanent, the literal manifestation of leaving my mark on the world. My dad often reminds me of the walls he had to repaint, cabinet doors and furniture he had to replace because as a child, I was obsessed with writing on things I wasn't supposed to. If the last 3 years have taught us anything, it's that permanence has felt as elusive as trying to find Bigfoot, and finding him would be its own kind of problem. We all yearn for stability, and that's okay, as long as we don't get stuck in one place. Do you ever feel stuck? Like you got sucked into some crisis that felt like the end of the world, and you weren't sure if you were strong enough to make it through? But then the next day came, and the sun was shining, and you realized you survived. I know that feeling. I also know that you're more than just one circumstance, because in a split second, your current situation has passed, and then it becomes just another lived experience that gets added to the information archive of your life. That archive is key. It's your foundation. Permanence is not elusive. You've built it brick by brick out of the lessons learned in the inevitable times of heartache, by overcoming challenges, and by learning from master builders. 8 years ago, I felt my foundation begin to shake. It was like I bought a ticket on a train wreck. It went like this. I woke up one morning to a 4 a.m. phone call from my brother-in-law letting me know that my only sister passed away. None of us expected it, especially my nieces and my nephew. A year went by and I got fired for the first time in my life. It was months before I got another job offer. And then my mom went in for a routine procedure and never came home. I spent a long time trapped in a fog. And as soon as it started to lift, my only brother went to sleep, fell into a diabetic coma, and didn't wake up. Just when I began to think things couldn't get worse, after living with me primarily for 15 years, my only child told me he wanted to live with his dad and see me on the weekends. In times of struggle, people often comment on how strong you are. I lost count of how often my friends and family reminded me that I would be okay because I was so strong. In those moments, I learned the meaning of imposter syndrome. I felt like a fraud. I kept thinking if they only knew I was barely hanging on, they wouldn't think I was strong. At times, life can feel like something you have to endure. I'm sure at some point you've had to overcome one of life's many challenges, and out of necessity, you wore strength as a badge of honor. Moments of weakness are just a snapshot in the movie of our lives. The soundtrack to that movie matters. It isn't just background noise. It's the context. And the context says, you're further ahead than you think. Do you know what else happened during those 8 years? My nephew graduated college. One of my nieces graduated high school and left for college. The other landed a great job and she moved out on her own. I started a new career. I got promoted twice. And I continue to fall in love with the work I do every day. I married a great guy. My son and I went to counseling and we both got the help we desperately needed. He just turned 16 and got his driver's license. And now my heart walks around outside of my body. I worry about him all the time. But I don't worry so much about our relationship these days. You learn a lot of lessons from heartache and overcoming challenges, and they will help you build a firm foundation. You can also learn from master builders. My dad built the house I grew up in, one room at a time as he could afford it, and he still lives there today. The place looks different, it sounds different, it even smells different. There's one thing that hasn't changed. It still sits on the same foundation it always has, the one it got built on. If you were to visit him today, this is what you would find. As you climb the front steps, you see that the front door is already open because everyone is always welcome. As you walk in, you're standing in the living room. To the right is the kitchen, and to the left is the family room. Straight ahead and down the hall, you come to a crossroads and you have a choice. Door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3. It doesn't matter which one you choose because everything on the other side of the doors has already changed. But if you look at the doors themselves closely, you'll find a child's handwriting in permanent red marker. I started leaving my mark on the world a long time ago, and so did you. They say you're only as strong as your weakest link, but I don't think that's true. Because yesterday's weakest link is what we need to prepare us for tomorrow. You already have what it takes to mend a broken heart, grieve the loss of a loved one, or even survive a pandemic. Bob Riley once said, "Hard times don't create heroes. It's during the hard times when the hero within us is revealed." Trust the hero you already are. And know that the foundation you've built your life upon will stand firm through the toughest of times. Madam Contest Chair.